All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Thought Frenzy, the podcast that I make because I like doing it. We got Sal here.
Hello?
Hello. Sal is here and he is ready to talk with me. We're gonna talk, and it's gonna be a great time. And you guys are gonna listen, and it's gonna be also a great time. So let's get into this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. First of all, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Not
Nice.
not bad, not good.
Not bad.
Middle.
We had some juice earlier. It was some great juice. Thank you again for that freshly juiced juice.
You're very welcome.
He's very good with cutting fruit and juicing the fruit. I can tell you that for a fact. I watched it. It's a very good time. But I wanted to ask you on here to start things off. Just tell me all about your time in Texas when with the ayahuasca that you took with the shaman. That's something that I always wanted to do, and I want to hear your experience. I've been waiting. I've been itching to ask you about it this whole time, but I waited till now to ask you.
It's apparently a good moment to ask me.
It's the best moment to do so.
It's definitely a lot. Obviously, for the viewers, they don't know that I was there for 30 days and did 3 ayahuasca ceremonies. Basically, the shamans are very well trained. I'm blanking.
We'll walk us through the process.
Absolutely.
What was the environment like?
Well, their specific environment, like they have a lot of crystals, a lot of they believe in a lot of protection. They use kapal and incense and all that, and they do cleansing ceremonies after the first ceremonies as well. But everyone sits down, gets their own spot. There's not a lot of talking. You're not allowed to touch each other because of the energy transfer during the ceremony. And there's a medicine called ape, which is a tobacco powder that they actually give you an option of to shoot up your nose.
To detox, right?
It's more of like a grounding.
Okay.
It sends like tingles through your body and gives you a sense of safety and grounding in the present moment to get you ready for.
Do they also give you a detoxing thing?
There's a specific, they call it a dieta, which is just diet in Spanish, I do believe. Could be wrong, don't quote me. And it's mainly there specifically they recommend fruits and vegetables. They're shamans. Don't mind animal products as much. You're not allowed to eat garlic or onion because those block visions on ayahuasca.
And again, for anyone who might not know, I feel like we kind of assume everyone knows about the ayahuasca
They
ceremony.
know what ayahuasca
Most
is.
people listening probably do know, but in case you don't, it is one of the world's most powerful psychedelics. And they have a whole ceremony with shamans to well, what would you say is the whole purpose of growth, spiritual growth?
The purpose.
I mean, it's gonna be different for
It's
everyone.
to torture
but what is
yourself.
your purpose? To
No.
torture yourself. Yeah.
Totally joking, but it is a decision to better yourself and expand and to learn things that you may not know about yourself. And to me, ayahuasca comes from the jungle, so the intake of ayahuasca is like the jungle of your mind, to explore the inner parts of yourself and who you think you are and who you're not.
There you go. Yeah, I find it especially fascinating that this tribe that that apparently came up with it themselves. It was such a complicated way that they did it. They had to take like specific vines from a certain tree and specific leaves from a different tree on the other side of the island. And they asked them who taught them to make it, and they said that it was like the spirit people or the tree people.
From my understanding, yeah, I suppose are you referring to the tree people as the trees themselves, or the people that live in the trees?
I don't know. This is just going off of memory with the
Absolutely.
research I've done probably years ago by now.
Yeah. From my understanding, what I was told is that the tobacco plant actually, because each plant has its own intelligence, and each plant, just like us, is also a channel for information to come through if you're prone to be able to hear that message. So from my understanding, the original knowledge of how to make ayahuasca came from the intelligence of the tobacco plant itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very fascinating. So go back to where you were talking about the detoxing. Where are we going from there? Because I cut you off to make sure that everyone was educated on what ayahuasca is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, ayahuasca is the vine. The ayahuasca plant is the vine, and then you can, it can be cooked with, from what I know of, is called the kappa plant, which actually does not grow anywhere close to each other. There's another plant that starts with an R that actually makes it more bitter, but the kappa plant makes it sweeter. But you said go back to what? I just sidetracked.
Yeah, sorry, cool. I sidetracked, so I was trying to get us to unsidetrack. Because you were talking about the detox.
Yeah, they don't necessarily call it the detox. Like, they don't call it detoxing. Because, like, to me, detoxing is fasting or just a straight fruit diet.
Okay, I guess it was the thing I was thinking of was the shit that makes you puke.
That's the ayahuasca.
Oh, is that the... Well, yeah, but I thought...
Purge.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just talking about the process that I saw in a documentary from a different ceremony, but I know every place is a bit different.
Were they talking about
because you can't have like citrusy stuff, is it?
I was juicing every day.
Oh man, I don't know.
But the whole puking thing, that's like a key element of taking the ayahuasca is like going down, and like there's different, they call it purging, and there's different forms of purging. Like you could sneeze and then transfer your attention somewhere else and be fine. And completely forget about it. But like while you're traveling to the deeper parts of your consciousness, if you find something that no longer serves you, a lot of the times ayahuasca, like the plant itself, will have you puke it out and purge it out. You'll be projectile vomiting. Sometimes it comes out both ends. Sometimes it doesn't.
Nice. It sounds pretty appetizing. I like that.
Absolutely.
But how do you describe the ayahuasca trip itself?
I don't like to describe it because it can't necessarily be contained in certain expectations or descriptions or definitions because it is so
outside the bounds
diverse.
of language.
Yes, it can be, and to me, the ayahuasca itself will give you what you need in every given moment, and every person needs something different in every moment. Okay. So I feel like that's kind of forbidden knowledge.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know how that can be. I've definitely had a few experiences myself on certain psychedelics where it's I'm just gonna sound like a crazy person trying to explain half this shit because it doesn't line up with language because it's such an abstract experience. We don't have the words to describe a lot of it. So I'm just like, oh yeah, I was inside out and I felt like a flock of birds and it's no one knows the fuck I'm talking.
Soup of the universe.
The soup of the universe.
There are people out there you can speak to them like that and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's my language.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Yeah, no. I feel like I was pretty fluent in that language for a while there, and then I don't know, over time, you know, being a part of society, I just kind of slowly acclimate back to the vibration of society while keeping like a little bit of it of all that shit with me. It's because I used to be able to think more so in patterns, and maybe I still do. I'm just not as, what's the word, blown away by the thoughts I'm having. Yeah, so I'm used to it.
It's for me, I can relate to that because you think something is so abstract, and then once you adopt it as part of yourself in a sense, then it plateaus into your new version of your normal. So then the parts of infinity that you discover have to be greater and greater for you to actually grow.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the what I consider to be my alien era of human life, where it just felt like I was a fucking alien and I didn't understand. No one understood me. I mean, I am, right? That's where I'm getting at right now. I was under the impression that maybe I was an alien and not anymore. But I definitely feel like what that was that made me feel like an alien was more so the rapid expansion of my mind rather than the wavelength my mind was on. In that sense of expanding has slowed down. I learned a lot really fast, and then I kind of stopped learning, and it
snap back to a middle ground between
right.
residents.
Yeah, you know, in a certain frequency that makes it a bit more copable to exist among the rest of the human beings. And
I don't know if I want to do that.
yeah, it's tough. Yeah, but like, you see, like I was saying earlier, you were talking about wanting to live off the land and stuff, and I was talking about how I also always wanted to like live off the land, grow my own food, be self-sufficient. But sometimes I also want to be able to like have a nice little family unit and take us to cool resorts and stuff, and it's like that is also now appealing to me because I've spent so much time living in society under certain circumstances that resonate with me better than it did last time I tried working within society.
Crazy people still go to resorts.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, I didn't say I didn't plan on being crazy anymore. I'm still going to be a crazy motherfucker, but like, I definitely, I feel like I spent a lot of time saying, oh, fuck society, fuck all of it. And now I'm thinking more like, yeah, still fuck the bulk of society, but if there's a way to bend this game to my will while I seem to be stuck in this game.
I was going to use the word coexist.
Coexist.
That works too.
Yeah, coexist, bend to my will, you know, well, you're trapped in this game, and until you can find a way to be completely self-sufficient outside of it, which is very hard because, you know, at the very least, excuse me, I burped. This Mountain Dew is a good time, man. At the very, thank you again for
well,
this
how do
Mountain Dew.
you perceive that you're trapped in the game of life?
I feel like I'm trapped in the game of life because, let's say I tried to live off the land, and
homesteading's illegal besides in Alaska and Hawaii.
Huh?
Homesteading is technically illegal besides in Alaska or Hawaii. So like, I guess I can understand that.
Yeah, because I can go to Alaska or Hawaii though.
And perfectly, yeah, homestead with no problems.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
But the other 73 states.
Okay. 73 states, yeah, that's how many states we got. But like, listen, because from my understanding and how I was looking at it was like, even if I manage to live off the land, I have to own the property to assure that I can stay on it. And then there's property tax.
Don't get me started on that.
I'm getting you started on it right now.
Or the keys in the ignition.
The keys are in the ignition. I'm going there.
Yeah, I have a different perspective on that because I don't believe anybody should be paying property tax. Like taxes was originally.
I don't feel like anyone should.
Yeah, and you don't have to. It's not illegal to not pay taxes. And if you have a warranty deed on your land, you don't own your land. Even if you think you own your land and then you pay the taxes. If you pay taxes on your land, you do not own it. It is a sub-corporation. If you would have to go back and file for a land patent or a grant deed and then redefine your land perimeters, the parts and parcels, and write up a contract and then basically tell them to fuck off because what they do is basically imagine the map of Google Maps. And everything originally was labeled as what it is geographically. They have put a clear piece of paper over it and then wrote on it and said, oh, now this is my rules. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so...
Now, is this only in Hawaii and Alaska that you could do what you're talking about?
No, that's in general. That's everywhere. That's because like I'm in the process of becoming a state national. And state national has limited diplomatic immunity, which means as long as you don't kill anybody, harm anybody's property, or harm someone, then you're immune to basically all the laws. You can sell marijuana on the street corner and no one can mess with you.
Man.
That's a rabbit hole in itself, though.
You know, that's news to me, man. I'm going to have to look more into that myself because that's pretty wild. That is some wild shit I haven't really heard from anyone else, because as far as I was aware, that there was still the property tax, but I haven't, I haven't heard that rabbit hole that you're talking about there.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is property tax if you agree to pay for it, but it is not even legal to charge taxes. I mean, the IRS is not even affiliated like the way, I forget who created the IRS. Google says something different than what I learned at one point, but it never had preface to actually exist.
It wasn't like donation. By the government?
Probably. I don't know. I can't really speak on that one.
But it wasn't meant to. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Taxes was like the 1042. Was it? Is that 1040? I don't even pay.
Yeah. Some numbers, official documentation.
Yeah, the 1040 form was created during wartime for citizens. Not even citizens. Don't get me started on citizens, because city means state and zen means servant. So you're a servant of the state. But taxes, the 1040 was created as a optional donation to support the wartime.
Wow. That is quite fascinating.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like that all sounds very appealing, and then bending the game society to my will also sounds appealing if I can do it correctly, which I feel like right now I'm in the process of doing it. I mean, my regular job is at a resort, which is nice.
That's sweet.
And it's
fun.
Know that. Yeah, at Avalon, the Grand Resort up in like the Howland area.
Never heard of it.
Check it out.
I know it's the golf course.
Yeah, it's same place as the golf course.
That's the resort?
Mm-hmm. We have 2 golf courses there, yeah. Right. It's a beautiful place. Everyone there is really happy, and I actually really enjoy the vibes, even if like most people come in and feel like more like Richie people, but like on average they're really, really nice. You know, I don't really get like Richie vibes from them. It's just like, oh, I can tell that you've probably been handed everything in life. You're rich and attractive, but your vibes are at least on point. So therefore, I'm having a good time around this energy.
Yeah, not all people money are assholes.
Yeah, not all people who have had it easy in life are necessarily assholes. So, you know, just like being around that type of energy. And now I'm doing this, which is something I really love. And if I can make enough more money doing this than working at the resort and just live off of podcasting, that would just be... It's like, why leave the game if I've successfully won at the game? You know? So...
Kinda. But no, I don't.
Yeah.
But I will.
You will. You will. Either you will or you'll exit the game and be happy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's so many ways of going about being happy in this life.
Absolutely.
And I'm like torn in 2 different directions a lot of the time.
Money's all happiness ever will be. It's all it's ever been.
Money is freedom.
Yeah, financial.
At the very least. So
it
allows us to be undistracted from our own happiness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're not worrying about money.
Yeah, if you don't have money to eat food or drink water, I mean, you're going to be stuck in survival based.
Yeah, you're going to be at your root chakra.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the base. That's the bottom, bare bones. But tell me the shaman during your
Which one?
Whichever one stood out the most, man. I want to know what the shaman was saying to you. If you can't properly explain the ayahuasca trip itself,
like during,
what were they there for? Yeah, what were they doing during that?
Exorcisms.
Exorcisms, all right.
Nah, I mean there was a couple exorcisms, but that's not. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a semi-common thing, but it's not. It doesn't happen every time. But the shamans don't really go personal one-on-one unless you need help during the ceremony. Then you don't really speak to a shaman. I mean, you're mainly just in your own little space.
Oh, okay. I was thinking they guided you like the whole time or something.
I know. You are your own shaman. They're there to watch over, to observe, to make sure everybody's okay. Everybody's, you know, if there happens to be, and they're trained to realize, like, if there is an entity attachment or a demon. Like, I don't necessarily care for the word demon because it's very demonized.
Mm-hmm. But right. Negative connotations to the word demon. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they're there to transmute that and to guide the energy, not necessarily your body. I mean, your body and your vessel is during the trip is yours to guide, in a sense.
That's really cool.
Absolutely.
A lot of very cool insight and information there, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. Did you have a lot of anxiety leading up to it?
No, not really, because, like, I'm pretty content with just with big events, we'll be like, all right, well, it is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Will be what it will be, and perfectly fine up until a few hours before, and then it's like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know, not too much anxiety, but especially right before that first cup, because you have an option throughout the night. There's the first cup, and a few hours later, second cup, third cup, and the shamans actually have to drink more than the person that drinks the most.
Why is that?
Because, so like, say when you do acid with your friends, it's obviously not the same situation. If somebody takes more than the other,
You're gonna feel more comfortable.
They're gonna be on a higher level. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, if we both take one, we're on the same level. If somebody takes more, they're more in it, and they can be more in tune with the non-physical and metaphysical things that are happening. They have a little bit more awareness than the person with not as much.
They're able to better act as the ambassador between the physical and the metaphysical, so
Absolutely.
to speak.
Yeah, like the one ceremony, there was an exorcism, and this lady drank 6 cups, I think, 5 or 6 cups. So then the shaman had to drink 6 or 7 cups, and it's pretty amazing how how much they can ingest and still be able to move around to conduct the happenings of the event and still be able to be in control of themselves.
That's fascinating.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other topics. Well, actually, do you want to hear about my DMT experience? Actually,
Sure.
I think I already told you earlier. I think.
Yeah, vaguely. I mean, you can repeat it.
I'm gonna go a little more in depth. All right.
There's
so listen.
DMT and ayahuasca. So.
Right. Ayahuasca is essentially DMT. I mean, is there how much of a difference is there really?
I don't know if that question can be answered. It's more of like a relative question, because like DMT itself is extracted and synthesized, and there just happens to be some DMT in ayahuasca and kappa.
See, what I had, it took me so long to finally find some too. I had to get it off of.
You don't know how to make it?
No, but it was off of my girlfriend's friend's boyfriend, and it, huh? No, I don't. I have no idea.
I'm joking. I don't even know anybody by that name. Allegedly.
Yeah, no, I don't know if his name is Bruce or what. But he was able to get me some, and I just thought it was a very powerful experience, because I took one hit, and it was a very intense gravity bong hit that I held in for 10 seconds.
Did it from a gravity bong?
Yes, from a gravity bong.
I've never heard of that one.
Bro, it like the kind with like water. Like a water bong, but
I know what a gravity bong is.
Oh,
I've never heard
okay.
of someone intentionally doing DMT from a gravity
me
bong.
neither. And then my buddy was like, "Hey, we're gonna smoke this out of a gravity bong. You ready?" I'm like, "Well, shit, I guess so."
So you did 3 hits in one.
Basically is what it felt like. Because I held it in for 10 seconds, and then I released, and it was so surreal because everything just immediately went tunnel kaleidoscope hyperspace.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is exactly how they described the come up.
Did you exit your body? Or?
I felt like I didn't fully break through. I felt like this reality and that fifth dimensional DMT reality were like fighting over me, and I was thinking about how this shit's released when in the brain when people die, and I'm like, I'm ready to see like whatever, huh?
It's releasing right now. Like,
yeah.
And your.
Well, they say DMT might be building reality itself.
Probably. I mean, at least maybe a side effect or a whatever that word is. What's the outcome? Like, this affects this and produces this.
Yeah.
Production of reality being built. Because, I mean, there's DMT in the grass and this plastic in your skins and every organ, and a lot of it in your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy shit, man.
Back to your assembly line.
Yeah, dude. So I saw this face, right? and it looked like the kind of face that would have been like drawn on like a Mayan cave painting or something. Like it looked like a deity that they would have worshipped.
Okay.
And it looked at me with crazy eyes like this, and I was like, "Whoa, buddy, I don't feel totally safe with you." And he looked like he was just about to like he was like saying hello, but he was like, "This is gonna be fun." And
it's like your neighborhood crackhead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, man.
Yeah, yeah. But then he threw me into some infinite cybernetic dome of infinity, and I was on conveyor belts in this different dimension, and I had little like orby people around me, and they were all going, "Hey buddy, hey buddy, hey buddy," but they weren't like saying hey buddy. It just felt like hey buddy energy.
Okay.
And I was like, y'all need to chill out. I feel like I'm being raped right now.
Yeah.
And
hey buddy, ow.
Yeah, for real. I just tried doing what I normally do when I have anxiety, and I focused on my 5 senses, and it started pissing them off a lot.
You had more than 5 then, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait, what?
I said you had more than 5 then, that's for sure. But
5 hits? Or
5 senses.
Oh, 5 senses. Oh, well,
yeah.
Kind of. It
Yeah.
was like, it was just weird. Like, I felt like my senses were bleeding into new senses, but I couldn't figure out where it was leading. Really hard to describe.
That makes sense. Do you know about the theobrallum?
No.
The theobrallum is at the bottom of your brain stem, and it's the filter for your senses. So if you go and to touch something, you will have neurons and electric signals that send it to the part of your brain, and it's like, hey, I just touched something. And most psychedelics, especially LSD, take away that filter. So when you touch something, it sends it to the part where you see, where you smell, where you touch, and everything merges. And like the old shamans believed that your 5 senses working together, or your 6 sense, 7, whatever. Some people considered to have us different senses, but they considered all of those meshing at once to be your soul. So.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, my perception of my soul is like the observer of my experiences, but if all is one, then it would all come from that. Like, it's kind of like, well, we are is like the center of our own universe.
Yeah, and, I could see that.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so I was on these conveyor belts, and then these little guys were going, hey buddy, and then I saw a wheel of people, and they were doing Egyptian dances on the wheel, and they were going inside out of each other, and it was weird. And then I kept seeing flashes of the real world. Apparently my eyes were open the whole time too. My friends were saying that I just looked terrified, and but I was completely unaware. Huh?
He's just shitting himself.
I just looked like I was shitting myself. It was insane. Yeah, they just were showing me my friend's knee, because for a second I saw a glimpse of my friend's knee, probably because my eyes were open, and they were looking at it with me and being like, you think that's a reality? That ain't fucking reality. It's not a knee. That ain't real reality, baby. This is reality. And they just dance and go fucking crazy. And I'm like, this. Yeah, this is insane right now.
Absolutely.
And I remember seeing my computer, but my computer was behind me.
Did your computer see you?
I don't know. It might have. It was my work computer, because I was working from home at the time.
So you were like, did you see your body in front of your computer? While you saw the computer behind you?
I remember seeing my computer, and I don't know how I was able to see my computer in retrospect, because I was not facing my computer at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it was right, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. But then I eventually came out of that, and I took a big breath of air. I was like, oh, it felt so freeing to breathe air. It felt like I was a baby that was just born, taking his first gasp of air. And my friends were like, he's back. And I'm like, I'm not trying to communicate. I'm just trying to breathe.
I'm not back.
Oh, it was insane. It was such a good fucking feeling, dude. It's never felt that good to breathe.
Absolutely.
I felt like I was dead, and I came back and took my first breath.
Well, maybe you were.
I kind of was.
Yeah, a motto that I'd like to go by is die to the past every moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, like a new version of yourself in every second, to the point where you can't even keep up to it, because our present selves right now is the past.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Anytime I try and think of my present self, that was already in the past. It's just moment to moment to moment to moment. It's insane. My one buddy, though, he tried the DMT after I did, and he had sunburn really bad. So as soon as he started blasting off, it felt like his skin was burning.
Yeah.
Like he was in hell. Like he was he was not having a good time.
I can relate to that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You did it with sunburn?
No, I like I told you earlier, I was practicing body awareness, and
Okay.
that in a sense is the psychedelic version. Like, you know, when you do LSD and you get all those tingles, and you ever feel that? So like that, I currently experience, sober. So I was at the quarry one day, and was practicing body awareness, and I had a sunburn. I was in the sun for 3 or 4 days at a time, and like I had blisters and stuff, and it was kind of like a micro trip, but like I didn't take anything, and like I heard a voice, and they're like, "This is gonna kill you. Like, you should probably stop." I was like, "No, we're good." And like, I keep in mind, completely sober, and like my sunburn, like I had back awareness on my sunburn, but I couldn't shut it off, and it was excruciating painful. I got sick, like vomiting, like I felt dizzy, and like it was all just from feeling,
Just feeling.
just
the sunburn.
feeling, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, on DMT, it was like he was like being sent to hell, being lit on fire. Then he found this like round table with this council of people, and they were like asking him, what do you need? And he was like, can you please fix my sunburn? And they straight up healed him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he no longer felt the sunburn, and he was able to enjoy the rest of his DMT trip, and he wasn't feeling the sunburn when he came out of the trip either.
Yeah, it was probably healed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, then
Did he still have sunburn? Was it red?
It was red, but it wasn't bothering him like it was before he smoked the DMT.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. But he then he Googled it and to see if anyone else had this experience with like taking DMT while sunburned. It was like comical, because like the first result was in all capital letters. It said like, warning, do not smoke DMT if you have sunburn.
There's always one more.
Right. Yeah, man, but I thought that was pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
But
I can share about with my DMT experience as
yeah,
well,
go for it
if you want.
Yeah.
Well, I know the one that I already told you. I'll make that one quicker. Just did DMT, and I was at this table with these blue light beings, and we had this super deep discussion. And then on the way back, they were like, "This is solely for you. Like, do not tell anybody." And then I went to tell my buddy, and it was all wiped. All of the experience, besides like a little bit of visual of remembering being there with them and them telling me not to tell anybody. And then I did. So that's the quick intro wrap up. And for a while, like I was like, oh, whoever these people are, they're mad at me. And like I didn't want to do DMT for a while. And then I slowly eased back into it, and I was microdosing DMT. And I was also into breathwork and body awareness and cellular awareness and DNA regeneration and all that fun stuff then. And then this one day, I went to do DMT, and I breathed for like an hour and a half before even doing the DMT. And you know, like the spaghetti awareness, connectedness feeling you get on DMT?
Yeah.
Like you're like, whoa, I'm connected to everything. Like,
yeah.
So I got that before I even did the DMT. And like super buzzing, like it felt like everything was like cotton to the touch, and like I was just static.
Just from the breathwork and stuff.
Yeah, from the breathwork.
I'm gonna have to ask you about that more after this, but continue your story.
Absolutely. So then I load up a 0.1 of DMT, smoke the DMT, whole 0.1, held it in and everything, blew it out, and like I got like a little spike of visuals, and then nothing happened. And like I heard a voice and was like, "You're already here," and I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like I had been learning about, how no matter what we could go outside of ourselves to experience is already in this present moment, whether we are aware of it or not. And it was fun because after the fact, I'm like, oh, dang, I wanted to go to the stars, like, talk to these people. And there's like, nah, you're already there.
It's pretty wild, man.
It's crazy.
So tell me more about this breath work that you do that makes you feel one with everything.
I don't necessarily... So, I don't necessarily practice breath work too often now. There is, I guess, a word for it, pranayama, which is prana's life, and I don't know what yama is. But a lot of people think that pranayama is solely from the breath, because, I mean, breath is life.
Mm-hmm.
But I was using that for a while to build energetic awareness within my body. But now I don't necessarily need the breath. So it's more likely for me to not practice the breath work. Because now, I mean, I could snap my fingers and my hand or my arm or something is just like so much energy. So, yeah, breath work is very beneficial, but I feel like I've plateaued in that area. So we're like, I don't actually need it. And then I got into, I got so far into breath work, like, and by far, I mean, relatively to my subjective experience, not towards anybody else's, but I was like into like Kundalini and like Vedic learnings about the Ida, the Pingala, and the Shishima, which is the center of your spine, the left of your spine, the right of your spine. And you do like different breathing techniques, like one side goes up, the other side goes down, and it's very hard to put into words, but eventually it's like you do both at once, and then it's almost like you're breathing in and out at the same time. And that's when I discovered I could breathe in and out of my nose and my mouth at the same time. If you practice that, that's kind of cool. Like to separate,
like out through your nose and in through your mouth.
No, like in through your nose and your mouth at the same time, and then out through your mouth and your nose at the same time. It's like the awareness of the separation, because usually we want to breathe through one or the other. Yeah. So that's a circular motion, and so yeah, that's when that was like the barrier between breathing with your main respiratory system and your secondary respiratory system, because your cells are connected to the air molecules, and like I was literally breathing through my whole body, my whole cells, everything was like I could feel the air coming into my cells and leaving my cells. And like if you've ever held your breath on psychedelics and you feel like I could hold my breath for fucking ever, like, you ever felt that way? Like,
I can't say I have, but next time I ever do, I'll have to try that.
Just remember to breathe again eventually. But
so you achieved this just by breathing in through both your mouth and your nose?
It was no, not even necessarily. That was just one step towards it. It's very hard to like remember.
But this is a form of Kundalini.
Not necessarily. Okay. I don't remember. It was more Vedic, because I don't think Kundalini is Vedic. But I was doing all of this at the same time. But it was very hectic.
That sounds incredible. Where do you learn this? Was it just online? Do you have a teacher?
I do not have a teacher. I guess it's online. It's kind of weird, because like I feel like I'm very connected with intuition. Mm-hmm. So I might find something, explore it, and then use that externally as a catalyst for coming to an understanding internally. Because like I firmly believe that you already have the answers within you.
Me too.
No matter what. Mm-hmm. It's just the questions that you're going to ask. Like if you don't know about something that somebody has defined as this in that form, then you're not going to know how to discover it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's well said.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. I mean, that just goes to show, and anyone could just, we have the power of the internet, and that is like something that we really take for granted. You could feel whatever you want to feel, really, because these are. I've used the internet to learn how to like properly meditate and things like that. I haven't quite gotten into like I know like certain breathwork techniques, like the Wim Hof method.
Yeah.
Like that's really cool.
Breath of Fire is another really good one, or just camping.
Camping? Yeah.
Yeah, like when you're starting a fire and you're like blowing into it,
Mm-hmm.
you ever get like the lightheadedness type of thing?
I think I do know what you're
Do you
talking
think that's
about.
from not breathing?
Huh.
If you're you're not breathing. So I like to push past that, and then like my whole face is just bleh, and gets super staticky, and it's
Dude,
crazy.
yeah, that's like that's how I felt when I did the natural DMT release breath work, where I
Absolutely.
have you done it where you fully hold all of your breath in to the fullest, and then you halfway exhale, and then inhale all the way back in, halfway exhale, and all the way back in, like you do that for long enough, and then hold it. Like everything just gets so staticky, and it
Like you're
feels
doing
like
nitrous.
you start seeing like visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that specifically. Maybe.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah. I feel like I see visuals like daily, honestly.
Yeah.
But like I was gonna say this earlier, but so like if you close your eyes, like what do you see?
I see, honestly, a lot of static.
A lot of rainbow static.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
blue, staticky. It's
Green, like when you look at the sun and it goes over your eyes a little bit, maybe.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I feel like it wasn't always as staticky. It used to be more smooth.
That's funny.
And then I had like.
Do you not
some
have a
bad
visual
tabs.
imagination?
I do have a visual imagination.
Really? So you can
Yeah.
like create things in your mind and see things?
I see it vividly.
Okay, yeah, I can't do that. So if you close your eyes and focus on something, like people at home could even try this. If you're laying in a dark room, that's the best time to do it. If you close your eyes and notice all the patterns and the colors or whatever you see, you open your eyes, those are still there.
Wait a minute. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, like over, like a thin overlay over top
It's
of
like
my
in between whatever you
visual
see.
cortex?
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so that's like what I'm seeing with my eyes closed is still visible when my eyes are open, but it's just harder to detect because
Yeah.
there's more
It's
stuff.
harder
Okay.
to notice it because there's so much stimulation in your eyeballs.
See, I kind of wish. I feel like I just want my vision to be less staticky because I kind of have this statickiness that I don't know if it's because I'm overly aware of it or if I had a bad experience with some bad tabs.
Were they for me?
No, they weren't. They weren't. No.
Allegedly.
Oh no, I got them from someone else. They were not. It wasn't that great of a time. But I don't know. I feel like it might also just be my paranoia being overly aware of the non-smoothness of the colors behind my eyelids.
Well, I don't know, like, because I personally wanted the static to go away for a while as well. Because, like, I see static rainbow, and then sometimes if I focus in, it's sometimes, like, sacred geometry or bands, like wavelengths. This really depends. Oh, and then I could, like, move my eyes in certain directions to see certain colors and then blend them and create like new colors that aren't necessarily able to be created on paper. That's a cool one. But
cool.
yeah, it's crazy, but I don't personally have a visual imagination. Like some people will say they can like sit there and see an apple like and then do something with it and create. But like I don't have that. I don't really remember the last time that I had a visual imagination like that.
Do you think you ever had?
Yeah, I feel like I did eventually. And to me, like it's I feel like it's a correlation and a reflection between what we see as the physical to be an illusion. So what we create in our mind is also a projection of ourselves and what we create, and which is an illusion. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I will arrive in a couple seconds. It's very funny.
Take your time.
Absolutely. So
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, understandable. For me personally, I feel like it was a letting go of illusion and sitting into truth. And to me, what truth is, like people say there's no objective truth, there's no absolute truth. To me, truth is just what is the existence of
Mm-hmm.
blank, whatever. Like whatever you want to put on it, then it becomes a concept. But whatever.
The thatness.
Yeah, the thatness of the
is,
isness of the beingness of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as I like relax into that more and more, I feel like visual imagery can't touch that necessarily. So then it's more of like an energetic like essence.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I see a little bit of like what looks like sacred geometry. If I like, I feel like it takes like some of my own willpower to be able to see it. Like I have to find it in all of the staticky overlay behind my eyelids. I'm doing it right now, and I'm kind of seeing like a hexagonal kind of going, like shrinking and expanding.
Bulbous teeny.
What was teeny is now nice and plump.
There you go.
Yeah, it's nice.
I've never been able to find that definition. There's a word called bulbous teeny, and it means to expand and contract at the same time.
Bulbous teeny.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But
okay. Yeah. The
Google
hexagon
it.
I'm looking at is bulbous teeny, actually. That's exactly what it
This
is.
is very funny. But
I
if
didn't
you
know there's a word for that.
Yeah, but if you Google it, it's I think I Googled it once, and it like immediately came up as like some porn.
Porn?
Pretty
All
sure.
right.
I'm like, this is not what this is. I heard it in one of Teal Swan's videos, though.
Okay.
Yeah, if you know.
Yeah, I feel like anytime you look at something, like the breathiness of like if you're ever on a psychedelic is bulbous teeny. Everything's bulbous teeny. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's contracting and expanding and also shrinking and yeah.
The Big Bang. I believe the Big Bang happens in every moment, in every atom. Like
in every moment, in every atom.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean the scientific representation of an atom isn't actually what an atom looks like. No one's actually seen
It's not
an atom. I don't think so.
They're like the 6-pointed like the Star of David Merkaba structure of an atom.
I remember my science textbooks seeing just a green sphere and being told that's an atom.
Oh,
but
really?
Like, yeah, but like
I guess that.
I don't know, but I just feel like because if you keep zooming in, you're gonna find something smaller than an atom because they know that. Like the most recent discovery, I don't think it was that recent, but it's more recent than the discovery of the atom, was quarks. There are quarks inside of atoms. Clearly, if you keep zooming in, it's just going to go on forever.
Yeah,
because you can't imagine it not going on forever. You know, it's just fractals. You know.
No, it stops. I'm
It
kidding.
doesn't make sense.
So where do planks come in?
Where do planks?
Yeah. The dude Planck. Apparently, like Planck was the smallest.
Like the board of wood with the smiley face that Johnny had, Ed and Eddie.
Similar.
Yeah.
Similar spelling.
All right.
Planck might be
Oh,
P-L-A.
Planck length.
Yeah.
Planck length is a term. Planck length is the term that is used for the shortest amount of distance possible, but for all we know, that could not exist. You know?
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about that.
Yeah. I know. All I know is what I said. Excuse me.
Right in the
Burping.
microphone.
Ah, fuck, man. But, yeah, no, that's what a Planck length is. But I feel like you just keep it doesn't matter if you're zooming in or you're zooming out. It's going to be fractals and fractals and fractals.
Absolutely.
And if it goes on for infinity, at some point you're going to see another Earth with new humans on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. Inside the plastic and the molecules.
Yeah. Not to mention our eyeballs look like
Earth.
the universe, or that too, you know?
Yeah,
but our brain cells look like another part of the universe.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Our neurons looks like mycelial network or root systems and all that
we could
fun
be
stuff.
inside of an infinite amount of us's with an infinite amount of us's inside of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every part of infinity is equally infinite.
Yeah.
I don't know who said that, but that's a quote.
There are actually different kinds of infinities, with some infinities being more infinite than other infinities. Yeah. I don't know shit about that, but I remember looking into that and being like, whoa, dude.
But
there's like an infinity amount of infinities.
But is that just as far as somebody cared to discover?
I mean, I feel that's as much as one could possibly discover, to know that there's infinities.
Yeah, but if you say that there's infinities, how do you say one infinity has more infinities than the other infinity?
I don't remember what.
Okay.
I listen. I'm not an expert on this.
You're an expert on infinity.
I think infinity is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
But I don't know about all the different kinds of infinities. I knew for maybe a moment that I was like looking at this information online, mostly through YouTube videos. It was probably like a Vsauce video or something. Honestly,
never heard of it.
You never heard of Vsauce?
No.
Like, hey, Vsauce, Michael here. No, that doesn't ring a bell.
No.
What the fuck?
Not at all.
You never watched Vsauce?
No.
Bro.
Never watched Vsauce.
All right. Well, when we're done with this, you need to look at Vsauce. Vsauce is like such an OG YouTube channel. This really smart guy, and he just talks about weird concepts, and you would just have to see it.
I don't watch too much. I mean, I do watch YouTube, but like typical YouTube, I don't watch too much. Like most of my YouTube is Abraham Hicks, Cryon Channelings, Alan Watts, Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle.
Mine is too, but back in high school, it was mostly like Vsauce and shit.
I don't think
And every now and again, I'll see another Vsauce video.
I think I was doing a lot of drugs, not watching YouTube.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
That was the problem, maybe, man. Or maybe it was the opposite of the problem. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Absolutely.
But I know...
That's a whole nother podcast right there.
That is a whole nother podcast right there. But another topic you wanted to go over was anxiety thought patterns, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have some things to say about anxiety thought patterns. I wanted to hear...
Well, I'm not anxious right now, so I don't know if I can speak on it. No, I'm kidding. Absolutely. Well, I had something to say earlier, but no, I mean, have you watched a lot of Eckhart Tolle?
I love him.
Yeah. I feel like most of it is based off of that. To me, like anymore, I don't see the point in going through anxiety, and that's hard to portray to somebody that still goes through anxiety thoughts and stuff like that. Like I still get the feeling of anxiety, but like as far as the mental narrative and the constant chatter of like, oh no, this that and that and the other,
you
I
don't
don't
subscribe
really
to that anymore. Like
no, not necessarily. So I'm trying to like build a bridge back to the way that I was then to relate to the people with anxiety and thought patterns. I feel like it's a whole lot of like centeredness. So like if you practice stillness, which unfortunately a lot of people do not and cannot get there because they're under the impression that they're not in control of their thoughts. And it took a while for me to get to the root and realize that every time you think, you're pushing a button, like you're choosing to think. And so a lot of silence to me helps. And Gage, one of the shamans, says find your own way of staying slippery. So like with anxiety thoughts, is like we cling to them, and if we create them as real, then they snowball and the momentum builds and they fractal, because like one thought becomes two thoughts and a potential thought pattern becomes a whole mood. And then that correlates to depression and all that fun stuff. But to me it's really about staying centered and not thinking
and being able to just meditate on command essentially, right?
But then there's also another layer of trying to stay centered, because if you're trying and objectifying outside of yourself and reaching for something, then you're not centered.
I mean, well, like for a lot of people it's not easy for them to do that. Like I learned how to do that, you've learned how to do that, and I still slip sometimes.
Absolutely.
But for when I try and give that advice to people who are excuse me, I can't stop burping. When I try and give this kind of advice to people who are succumb to
still drowning,
they don't realize that it's their thoughts. Like they might be able to hear me say that the root of all your suffering is your thoughts and how to get around that, but
they don't.
It doesn't do anything for them, because
Because they're still in it.
Yeah, they're still in it. And what fires together wires together. So
All right.
you need repetition to be able to get to that point.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people are so far not at that point.
And repeating into the polar.
Right. It's easier to stay on your grooves, right?
Yeah.
When you meditate or when you have a crazy experience on psychedelics where it's an ego-dissolving aha moment, your neural pathways are kind of like reset. It's like when you imagine like the top of a mountain and you throw down all these little snowballs and they all go down the mountain, and you keep doing that for long enough, the new snowballs you throw down the mountain are going to roll in the grooves of the previous snowballs.
Yeah, if you throw them in the same spot.
Right, well, it's like from the top point, right?
Yeah.
So they get caught in the grooves and they keep going down the mountain in those grooves. So it's all about clearing out those grooves and having a nice, clear, smooth blanket of snow over the mountain and then being able to choose how your grooves are going to be shaped, where your snowballs are going to go down. At least, like, that's a visual representation that works for me. A lot of these people have these grooves and they haven't meditated enough. They haven't put in the spiritual work on their psyche to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're having trouble meditating, if you're having trouble getting to a point where you're no longer succumb to your own internal sufferings, just keep at it, you know?
Eventually it's fun to suffer.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, honestly, I suffer a lot, and I'm like, wow, what a crazy experience. I'm really experiencing life right now. This horrible, fucked up shit is happening.
How funny.
Yeah, how funny. Exactly. It's like, even when I act upset, like, oh, someone did a really awful, horrible thing to someone I care about, and I start yelling to show them what they did was wrong, but internally, I'm not actually even pissed. I'm more so just like, well, this is what I have to do right now. This is
my role.
This is my role. This is how I keep things in where they should be, you know? Yeah, in the right structure.
And what we think it should be.
Right.
At least.
And that's the healthiest way to go about it, for sure. And, like, meditation has helped me a lot with that, too. And, like, a lot of people say they don't like meditating because they're not good at it. But a common misconception is that just because you find yourself thinking while you're meditating that you're bad at it. But that's a part of the process.
Yeah, it's the point of meditation.
Yeah, you have to catch
sit
yourself.
With the thoughts and invite them in for a cup of tea and then let them be on their way without attaching to them and then getting ripped into an energy stream of chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Every time you catch yourself thinking and you become aware of the thought you just had and you're able to, like, let it pass too, like, that's like a muscle curl for the brain.
Absolutely.
It's an exercise. Meditation is an exercise more than anything.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, from the perspective earlier of not meditating enough or not having that much experience. Like, to me, like, it took a while for me to learn that there's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to work on. There's nothing to grow because it's already there. It's more of like a relaxing into the truest and the deepest part of who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like it's not about getting to this goal. It's about the here-ness, the right now-ness. But there is that layer of people not being able to find the right here-ness because their brain is so wired to be as far away from the now as possible.
Absolutely.
So that's like a process, but what it truly is just you're already there.
Yeah. And I feel like more so on a one-to-one basis, like, personally, I can connect with most people and get them to realize, like, hey, like, this quiet place exists within me. Like, you know what I mean? Whether that be asking somebody to ask themselves what their next thought is going to be, or even a sense of distraction or something like that. Like, everybody has it within them. Whether or not they practice it and whether or not they choose to stay in it is a different story.
Yeah, straight up. Some real shit right there, man. Did you want to talk about your cellular regeneration?
Cellular regeneration. Yeah, that blends a lot with the energy healing and the energetic awareness. So like around that time, if you remember me saying about the sunburn, the sun blisters. No, I'm kidding. That was 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. But yeah, I had super deep sun blisters, and I was running that awareness up and down my back, and this was one of the first pivotal moments of, like, I had subscribed to it. I believed it. I had not even belief, because like to me, to believe in something is to put it outside of yourself and objectify it, and therefore separate yourself from it. So like I like to reside in the knowing, like the isness, the knowing, and just trusting that that I'll be, shown the right way. So the time of the sunburn and the sun blisters, like I had sun blisters. I was in the sun for freaking ever, and they were super deep. And I sat in my room, running awareness through my back, and jacked the heat up as high as it would go in the thermostat, in the hottest room of the house, and put a space heater in the room as well, just to get it like a little sauna. And I drink a water bottle every 15 minutes or so, and I was just running all that energy and feeling my cells, like every little micro awareness that I could, like down to the cellular level, and my blisters were gone in 30 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, 30 hours.
Now, that was just through manipulating the temperature and focusing on the spot?
Well, it could have, the temperature, I don't know, I was led to do the temperature, sauna, sweating, while drinking water. So like that combination specifically was for, yeah, that was just to get the fluids rolling. But even to the point of healing, like that's what healing is. Like, I don't want to get biblical, but like the people in the Bible, like Jesus that healed people, like that's a form of cellular regeneration. That it is what healing is. Even if you're waiting 6 weeks to heal a fractured bone, that's cellular regeneration. So to me, it's just been a process of squeezing the timelines of that, and just doing it a little bit quicker.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. So, yeah, I mean, that sounds like a very practical skill for everyone to have. I feel like,
Absolutely.
If we're going to do anything with our educational system,
yeah,
I think that's a lot more practical than the perimeter of a rhombus.
Absolutely. Or Western medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone's capable of it. Like I can typically, connect with a person and get them to realize that their body awareness is there. Whether they live their life in unawareness of it, it's always there. Always.
Very nice. Have you ever thought about making like a business out of it?
Like energy healing?
Yeah, like energy healing.
You mean like Embercircuite?
What?
You mean like Embercircuite? That's my company name.
Really? This is just now being brought up. All right, let's talk. I'm willing to promote Embercircuite for you.
That's
Tell us about Embercircuite.
So I've had the idea of Embercircuite for a while, and it's a few different things. The first idea and the gist of Embercircuite would be a building, a community. I don't want to say communal because people separate communal and community for some reason. Like communes, communal, cult,
right?
Community, society, good.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So it would be like a community-based building where people could come and learn these things and either get energy healing or learn how to garden or learn their thought patterns and their ability to be emotionally stable, whatever that means,
right?
For that specific person. But Embercircuite right now is just the name I use for my energy healing sessions that I provide for people. And the point of Embercircuite was the logo is like a circle with fireballs, and it's like bigger and smaller fireballs. And to me, that's the connection between each person. Like my energy affects your energy, and then whoever you go and talk to about this then affects so many more people. And it's really like a spread of conscious growth. So that's the name.
Nice.
Meaning behind Embercircuite, if that's what you were asking.
Yeah.
I forget at this point.
Well, it's your business, right? So like,
yeah.
Is it non-profit or is it for profit?
That's alleged right now.
Alleged right now? Well,
Yeah.
Do you have a website for it?
I do not have a website. I mean, I have an Instagram that I post on sometimes.
Okay.
I've changed my Facebook name to Ember Circuit.
All right.
And I have an email, which is embercircuitenergyhealing, and then ECEH@tutanota.com.
Okay.
For people to contact me if they want to book appointments. But yeah, for now, I usually do the first sessions for free to introduce this aspect to people, because a lot of people they're not introduced to it, and they have no idea what the hell is going on when I start this type of thing. And yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, if anyone listening is interested, I'll put that contact information down below.
Absolutely.
Ember Circuit sounds like a beautiful thing that this world needs more of.
That's
sure.
dope. I appreciate that comment.
Yeah, of course.
As far as legally being allowed to charge money, no, absolutely not. Yeah, the whole licensing is illegal.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Right in the Constitution. Like, I think it's the Constitution. Don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
But I do know for a fact that we're not on the deepest level of our existence in the law of the land and beyond what we believe, what we listen to Daddy Corporation.
You're saying it's unethical.
Not even that it's unethical, that it's not required. Like drivers, this is a whole another podcast as well. Driver's licensing, not required. Driver's license is only required when you're doing commerce and on the road. So if I'm driving for Uber, if I'm driving CDL, if I'm, dropping off DoorDash or driving the Amish or driving, to work and I get paid for it, that's the only time you need a license. But, and then fishing license. Who's going to tell me that one man can't? Just the idea that there was a group of people at one point that saw a man fishing and was just like, let me tell him what to do. Like, he brought his own fishing pole. He brought his own bait. And I'm going to walk over on these trees that I don't own, and I'm going to make him pay for it. Like, that in itself. And there are a set of laws, because most of our laws stem from Roman constructs of whatever the fuck. Yeah, we're heavily Roman influenced with our laws, but there is a way out of it.
Yeah, man. Society.
Yeah.
Society, man.
It's all society.
It's all fucking society, bro.
No. I mean, I don't believe in blame, but it is society, because it is a huge, like, misillusioned guise and structure of getting our permission.
Mm-hmm.
Because as not to say they as into otherize and say that there's a benevolent evil force somewhere out there and whatever, they're not able to do anything unless they get our permission. So just by subscribing and continuing and not being like, hey, something's wrong here and we got to do something about it, the less people that do that, the more it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Straight up, man.
Straight down.
I agree with everything you said here. Yeah, we made good on time too. We're at an hour and 8 minutes. Or any other closing concepts you wanted to talk about?
Closing concepts. Not entirely.
Not entirely?
No, nothing that comes to mind.
All right, man. Yeah, we talked about a lot of good shit. I think this was a very good episode. Again, you can find all the information for Ember Circuit. That's right. Ember Circuit down below. Sal's business. And again, like I try and say on every podcast episode I got here, don't forget to like this, subscribe, follow based on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And if you are to be as just beautiful of a human being as to feel the desire to donate, I do have a Patreon and a Ko-fi. Links to those will also be in the description below. It means so much to me that I do have people donating already. You guys mean the world to me. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. And hopefully from here on out, I just go up the quality of my show will go up. My reach of an audience will go up, and with your guys' support, I can do that, and that means a lot to me. But again, I'm here with Sal. We had a good talk, and much love to all of you.
Absolutely. Have a great time.
Have a great time. Love you all. Bye bye.